Iceberg consciousness is when you look beneath the surface when something's happening with your kids. Hi everyone, it's Vivek Patel here from Meaningful Ideas talking about non-coercive collaborative parenting. And I want to talk about iceberg consciousness. You all know the analogy where in the iceberg, you have just the top is visible above the water. And I always avoid saying just the tip of the iceberg, just the tip, but the top of the iceberg. And then I say I avoid saying it, but I said it. And then under the surface is like 80% of the iceberg is under there, right? And so if you only look at what's visible, if you only look at what's happening with your kid, what's the behavior that's presenting itself, you're going to miss 80% of the story because there's feelings happening underneath, there's emotions, there's struggles, there's thoughts and ideas and stories that we tell ourselves, there's trauma and difficult experiences wired into our nervous system, and there's needs that we're trying to meet and we're having trouble meeting those needs, and there's so much going on in a moment when your kid is struggling that it's easy to get caught up in the behavior and miss all that information. The beautiful thing about iceberg consciousness is that when we remember to look beneath the surface, we become much more effective in helping our kids. For example, if a kid is crying and upset, and we go to them and we try and maybe their blocks fell down, and we say, "Oh, don't worry, we can fix it. We can fix it." And we start to put it back, and they're crying. They're crying because there was a genuine loss that happened. And fixing the blocks isn't necessarily going to take care of the fact that they feel that loss, that they feel the pain of it. And maybe yesterday their blocks fell down too, and maybe the day before too, and maybe somebody else made fun of them at school for not being able to stack blocks very well. And then today the blocks fell down and they're crying, and you're thinking this is disproportionate. Now you may not know all those things, but if you have iceberg consciousness turned on, you know that something else is going on. They may not be able to verbalize it, but at least what you can do is, rather than try and rush the kid out of the feeling, you can sit with them in it. And you don't have to feel so lost because you're trying to figure out how to solve the problem. Because you don't actually have to solve the problem. I mean, sometimes solving the problem is helpful, but you don't have to necessarily solve the problem. You just have to turn on your iceberg consciousness and look beneath the surface. So the behavior doesn't hit you. Because a lot of the time, kids' behavior, it's disproportionate, feels disproportionate to us. The emotions are so big, and it's often inconvenient in our adult lives with our adult priorities and our adult world and having to survive, and the money and the relationships and work and health and oppression and everything that we deal with, and capitalism. So life is really hard with adult priorities, and kid priorities are very different, and their experience is very different. You know, there are some things that are core, like relationship and connection and learning and experiencing joy and beauty and pain. Like, we share those things. But the context, the worldly context that we share, that we experience them in, is quite different for kids, right? And so that's why it's easy to lose patience when we kind of put our adult ideas on the kids of how they should be. So iceberg consciousness also helps us go beneath the surface of their behavior and see that they're still developing beings. They're still developing, learning about the world, and we can have patience as we go through their process. So, and the iceberg consciousness works for us too, that when we get upset or when something happens for us, we can have compassion for ourselves because we know that so much is going on beneath the surface. It's not just this one incident, right? So practice iceberg consciousness. Even put a picture of an iceberg up print one out, and there's lots of icebergs on the net. I've been planning to make an iceberg meme for a long time, but I haven't gotten around to it. But print an iceberg out, make it your wallpaper on your phone for a while, put a picture of an iceberg on the wallpaper on your phone. And just remember, when you look at your kid, to always look beneath the surface at what's going on. And it'll change dramatically how effective you are in being able to support your kid and how they feel so much more seen and supported by you. All right, that's it, everybody. Peace out. Please check out my free course, Guiding Without Controlling. I'm going to have another free course coming out soon and another paid course coming out soon. I have one free one and one paid one right now. And you can find those on meaningfulideas.com. And also, please follow me on all the spaces at Meaningful Ideas. And that's everybody. Peace out.